need to start getting with it and to find out that there's other properties that light has. Light can conceal as well as reveal.
Yeah, indeed, yeah.
Light can blind and burn, and that's what the Illuminati are calling themselves the men of light, or the princes of knowledge, or the Luciferians for a reason, because they know how to manipulate and use light as a weapon. And most people have not come to understand yet how light has been used as a weapon in our society, and how advertisements and television and just light itself in our culture, in the ambiance, the social ambiance, how light is used to confuse and to bedazzle and to drug, you see, and to kill even.
Absolutely, and it is the blinding light in that sense.
The blinding light, exactly.
And the also, I guess that this is kind of connected with the idea of as we spoke about earlier, that this is the flame within, or the intellect, or the spark, or the intelligence that is, in a sense, connected with the archetype, I guess, of Lucifer in that sense.
That's right, and that goes back to the concept that the inner Lucifer is your own intelligence, your own light. And we can become slaves of that knowledge, just like the Masons become slaves of the secret knowledge promise of hierarchy. Of course, everybody wants status within that hierarchy, so they're itching to become, captains. And
sure.
So that becomes a very big lure, doesn't it?
Yeah. Indeed.
Well, what's going on inside the average brain of most people? Tremendous desire for more knowledge.
Yeah. Indeed.
I want to sit at the right hand of God. I want to have all the knowledge in the world. I'm going to be the biggest brain. I'm going to be a Mensa.
Yeah.
I'm going to have all secret knowledge, enlightenment.
Yeah.
But there's no end to it, So it's a lure externally, and it's a lure inwardly. People are very avaricious, and they're hypnotized, absolutely addicted to the phenomena of light. In the book, there's going to be a chapter on Luciferianism, and specifically dealing with this, about the eroticism, if you want to call it that, of light, and the whole idea that light is being used as a lure, and knowledge, people's pursuit of knowledge. It can become a most, egregious thing. That they're gaining knowledge, but that knowledge is not actually spiritualizing anyone. The quest for knowledge, the motive of why you want to look for knowledge is the wrong thing. The knowledge is not wrong, but the motive of why somebody might want that knowledge might be just to, fulfill their senses, or to give them, greater material reward or standing,
sure.
or whatever, or, there can be big noise in the world.
And a sense of control also, in a sense. I can,
right.
I can feel this myself. I want to, know what's going on, but obviously, as you say, definitely can, in that sense, become an obsession, and you tend to, lean towards more, trusting on your intellect than your, intuition or feeling, maybe.
Exactly, the one-sidedness.
Yeah.
And then once people have become addicted to the light, they're addicted to that kind of quest for knowledge, can they ever put it aside? Are they going to be able to, look at what we might call the lunar side of ourselves? The feminine side, the feminine qualities.
Sure.
This Kabbalistic concept of the, I would say that the Luciferian principle has always been Kabbalistically connected to the fifth zone, which is known in Hebrew as Geburah.
Okay.
And Geburah means to divide or to break, because that's the breaking point. If you have 10 circles, then the fifth one is obviously halfway.
Okay.
So the circles, or the spheres 1 to 5, is where spirit is quite strong, but from 5 to 10 is where matter starts taking over. I'm not saying I believe this, is just I'm telling Kabbalistically.
Yeah, sure, I understand.
Pure Kabbalistic anecdotal stuff.
Sure.
That they say that it's at the fifth sephirah, at the fifth sphere, that there becomes a problem, because spirit for the first time now has to negotiate matter. So from the Geburah down to Malkuth, meaning from the fifth sphere down to the 10th sphere, then you have matter dragging the soul, down.
Sure.
Whereas from Kether to Geburah, or from zone 1 to zone 5, spirit still is dominant. And therefore, they say that the fifth zone is given over to more of the, demonic principle, or let's say that the Luciferian principle is stronger there. And of course, different people can argue on this, till ad infinitum, like. But
yeah, sure. Yeah.
That's why they say that number 5 is always, the pentagram is considered devil worship and all of that,
Okay, I see. Very interesting. I think it's appropriate to kind of round things off here, but I do want to kind of, I guess, end on this note or throw this out to you and see if you want to pick up on it. In his novel 2010, Arthur C. Clarke, of course, mentioning the, I guess that they ignite the planet Jupiter, and after it is ignited into a second sun, it is referred to, I think, as Lucifer. Have you? That's quite an interesting, concept. Have you heard about that before?
Yes, I did. And when was that meant to have happened?
I think 2010 then, I guess, but I'm not sure.
2010. Well, that's kind of frightening because we know that a lot of stuff is going to be happening in the next couple of years.
Yeah.
That's the last thing we need. But I did hear about it because I actually heard that from Anthony J. Hilder,
mm-hmm.
Of Radio Free World, and he had a big thesis on that.
Sure, and this actually connects with that they actually did crash a what's it called, a sonde, or a what do you call it? I can't find the word. One of NASA's, a satellite basically, with that actually contained plutonium, and they just theorized that this actually might spark an ignition of the entire planet, considering the potential chain reaction that takes place consequently to this. So I don't know what's going on there, but I've heard that they're going to crash some more into that, around that time frame. I'm not sure if what happened with the last one that crashed into it, but it seems like Jupiter is a place where they kind of, it's like a dump, I guess, where they, after things have taken their turn, so to speak, a satellite or wherever, they dump it into that planet because of the, gravitational pull and all of that. So
you never know what they're up to. I mean, from ritualistic purposes, look at this whole thing with the denial of the planet Pluto even existing.
Sure.
Yeah. Or no, it's a speck of dust. No, it's a planet. No, wait a minute, it's this, it's that. All this back and forth. They make up one thing 1 minute, and then they change the riches. Just like I've been saying in ancient times, they change the mythologies.
Sure.
Every age, every processional age, there's reasons why, there's different symbolism from the age of Taurus into Aries. There's we're in Pisces now, so the symbolism has been very largely of the fish.
Indeed, yeah.
And so many other symbols. Then when we go into Aquarius, it's going to be needed to be changed again. But within those particular ages, there's also need to be constantly, changing the symbolism again, given all sorts of other, reasons that they need to do this.
Mm-hmm.
We only have to watch the media, to see how they manipulate different people, different actors and actresses, different memes. It's very subtle. Different colors, different symbolic tropes are always being used. There'll be a whole spate of Egyptian programs on at a particular time, and then suddenly they'll be focusing on the Irish or the Maya or the UFOs, These things are done often in patterns, at specific times as to why they would want to do that. And Jupiter, of course, has a very powerful symbolism. It's one of the oldest symbols going back.
Yeah.
Is connected to the god Jupiter and all the way back to Ptah and to it originally comes from Dispater, which is all father. It's a very ancient Celtic deity.
Oh, yeah. Ayu Peter, yeah, Peter.
That's right.
Yeah.
And Peter, going back to Ptah and also to Petra.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much symbolism there with all of this. So each thing that looks like it's being played out in the physical domain has a whole symbolic, canon behind it that it's much more important, I think, for people to understand what that's up. Because they're showing you all these logos and they're showing all these symbols, and people, they just take it as natural. They're not realizing, that the stuff that's being thrown in your face also has a very important symbolic meaning.
Yeah.
Because you see, it's not so much about planets outside; it's about archetypes within your collective unconscious.
Yeah, exactly, and that's a very interesting point. I think that is why this, I guess, is so important for them, because it is in the world, or even in the imagination of our collective unconscious, as you say, that these things actually are. We feed this energy into it all the time, and we are focused on it on one level or another, and this is actually what creates collectively our archetypes, I guess, and our mythologies, right? That's
right. And see, like I said, there's small cycles and big cycles. 2010, 2012, we're dealing with the black sun. So, you have Atonism, you've got the worship of the sun up there, this one sun, and hey, there may have even been a second sun, Tiamat, Phaeton, Lucifer, whatever you want to call it.
Sure.
And if these people worship that as a god, and then that god fell to earth, they're going to say that Lucifer is on earth.
Ah, of
and
course,
if they ever picked up even pieces of it, just like a fallen comet, those will become sacred relics.
How about the Kaaba stone? In Saudi Arabia.
How do we know that's not a piece of Phaeton?
Exactly.
Or Tiamat.
Sure.
And then in 2012 we go even higher up the ladder than that. The Great Galactic Cycle is going around a orb, going around a central sun, known as the central sun to scientists, or galactic center to astronomers. But galactic center was always known as the black sun to occultists.
Sure. Yeah.
So there's many kinds of light. There's many kinds of sun, and a lot of times these secret society guys are using symbols not just of the physical sun, which is kind of obvious when you see the sun as the sun is the sun. You can tell, okay, Aton there looks like the sun disk. But there's also symbolism of the black sun, like the Smithsonian logo and the swastika.
Indeed, yeah.
And there's even on Bracken House in London, you have the symbol of the black sun, and people will see this even on certain churches where it's not quite, or even Kodak. Using like an eclipse.
Exactly, and I mean that's a highly, used to be and still are in a sense, very, I guess, spiritual, thing to actually witness, a what looks like in that sense then a black sun or eclipse. I have this as a logo type thing on my website, and I mean it's fascinating to see, and that I guess in a sense is when the it actually looks like an eye coming alive when it moves, across over the sun, basically. Right,
and there's another reason why they may have, had the eye as a very, very ancient symbol in solar worship. But and in fact, if you really get into the symbolism of the black sun, according to physicists, they claim that the energy, the divine energy that is, coming from the central sun, the vortex that is in. Actually, it's physically in Sagittarius, the center of the galaxy, is where the Milky Way runs, and the Milky Way runs between Gemini and Sagittarius. And the central sun is at Sagittarius. That's why Sagittarius shows an archer, because the arrow of the archer, the centaur of Sagittarius, is actually pointing towards the target of central sun.
That's exactly.
They have this.
Yeah.
It's sort of as a marker, say, hey, there's the central sun.
Fascinating.
And of course, the Milky Way was the river that the Pharaoh's boat, is meant to have transversed.
Yeah, indeed.
Traversed. So he's literally on his boat, the boat of Ra, the boat of Horus, sailing towards this central sun.
Sure.
But it's even though it's called the black sun by many occultists, they claim that the energy that comes out of galactic center is blue. And they say that is the place of the blue light.
Okay.
And it's even been called the room of the blue light, or the house of the blue light. And of course, what are the degrees of Freemasonry called in the beginning?
Blue Lodge.
Yeah, the Blue Lodge or the Blue Degrees.
The Blue Degrees, yeah.
And you will see so many logos, especially logos for technical companies, that show you emanating blue lights. In America, you've got AT&T.
Yeah.
And they use what looks like an orb, like a sun, but it's blue. And don't you have the colors of Israel are blue, the colors of the police?
Sure, exactly, yeah.
Right, they're not wearing black, they're wearing blue often all over the world. How many Swedish police, if I'm not mistaken?
Indeed, they are actually changing some of that to these illuminated ones now. They have the green, more British type thing, and it feels like they're actually changing this across Europe, but I'm not sure about that. But it's interesting nonetheless, So they become the illumined ones, and then the army police have these black uniforms, basically.
Oh my God! But didn't they once have blue shirts?
Yeah, indeed. I mean, the police have basically always been blue up here, and some actually are still, I think. So yes, indeed.
That's right. And Interpol, so this color blue, which is again the United Nations blue, as it's called.
Exactly. Yeah.
What's all this blue, stuff? This is all connected to. It seems like a contradiction to black sun, but those who really know, again, here we're dealing with, initiates and non-initiates, those who are really into the symbolism of the black sun, which includes a lot of these secret societies, understand that the color blue is actually all, is connected to this, and that's why you have these blue lodges. It's a tremendous symbolism coming out of that, and one of the symbols of the swastika, even though the swastika was a symbol of Agni, fire, you know, and there's, again, that's for outer initiates. Inner initiates knew that's why Hitler, spoke of the swastika as the Black Sun, that they were knights of the Black Sun.
Huh.
And I go into this in the Atlantis DVD, that this swastika is also a radiating